you break into a sweat with even the thought of having company? I'm here to help. After trying just a few of my hosting tips, you'll be more than ready to say, come on over. Today we're going to talk about crock pots. Now, I always tell people who say they cannot cook, do you have a crock pot? That's what I say to them. And they go, I think so. Trust me, if you have a crock pot, you know you have a crock pot because they're so big. And so when they tell me they do have a crock pot, I say, then you can cook.
He can't even boil an egg.
I use my crock pots more than any other plug-in appliance in my house. Well, except for the curling iron, obviously. If I need to utilize every cooking appliance in my kitchen, the oven, the stovetop, the microwave, and I have crock pots, I'm gonna go to the crock pot for the largest and most intense part of the meal, which is usually the meat option. So you can see I have 3 crock pots here, and I'm going to compare them and contrast them to tell you why I like each one of them. I'm going to start though with a little bit of inside information.
But see, they don't know that we know that they know.
When I moved out of the house after college and I got my own apartment, my mom gave me her crock pot from the 1970s. And that's how I got this book. It was a rival crock pot and looked just like you would imagine a crock pot looked in the 1970s. It was brown and it had some funky floral thing on the front, and it worked like a charm, and I got this crock pot cookbook with it that I use to this day. And so that was the kickoff of the crock pot use. That one went to crock pot heaven some time ago.
See ya.
And I started collecting new ones. So let's start with the next one I got, and that would be this one. This one is probably from the early 2000s, could have been the 1990s, not certain, but it is definitely the more old-fashioned ones to this day. It has a pretty simple glass lid with a handle, which I've broken and it still works great. And it has what's called a ceramic insert. These are heavy. The reason I like the ceramic insert is that if I need to take it out of the crock pot and then put it into the oven to brown the top or put it under the broiler, I can do that because this ceramic can take extreme heat. It's black, so it will hide a multitude of sins of cooking in here. You can see I have some damage in here, and it doesn't matter. It still works perfectly fine. The outside is very lightweight. Now, the downside of this is it basically has 3 settings. It has a low, a high, and a warm. And you have to manually turn it, just like for those of you watching when you used to have to change your TV channel with, you know who I'm talking to.
Finally, I get the remote.
You have to actually turn this. So if you leave it on low or you leave it on high and you have not actually turned it off, something could happen. You could dry out your ingredients and you wouldn't want that to happen. Heavy will go in the dishwasher. I generally don't put it in the dishwasher. I clean it by hand, and I can even clean it with a specific cleaner for ceramic to get the really difficult pieces of food off. This does store pretty easily. It's round, uniformly round, and I can slide it right into the cabinet and tuck it away. The cord, not very long, so you do have to make sure you're close to an outlet to plug this in and get it going. And this ceramic insert will stay pretty hot and keep your food nice and warm if you want to go back for seconds or thirds. Now let's move on to the GE Crock-Pot. This was actually a gift from the Camps, my dear friends in Nashville. They got this for me when I started cooking more and I really started cooking for others. This has a glass top, lightweight, oval, and then the insert, see, not ceramic. This is Teflon-esque. I don't know what you'd actually call this. You can see that it shows a lot of damage, but what I like about this is it is light. It's very light. It also has locking handles. Let me demonstrate that for you. I'll put this down And so when you travel, you just lock this over the lid, and if you're in the car, it won't spill out. Love that feature. This one does not have that feature. So this is very lightweight. It's easy to lift out of the crock pot. However, you cannot put this into the oven. Now you might be thinking, why would I put this in the oven since the whole point of the crock pot is to not use the oven?
I still ask myself the same question.
Well, sometimes a meat or something with the cheese comes out and it doesn't look like you want it to look on top. Maybe you want it to look a little browned. That's when this little buddy helps you out, because you can put this in. If you wanted to brown the top, you're out of luck here. You just have to go with what you have. Now, the great thing about this crock pot is not only does it hold more because it's a bigger one with oval than this one, but it has far more settings on the front. In fact, other than the on and the temperature, which this has manually, it has all these options, programmable options that you can use. And I have actually used them. So let's say that I want something to start out at high heat and then reduce it to low for the remainder of the cooking. And you might be thinking, why would you want to do that? Well, little known fact about crock pots is that once they are heated up to their heat, they maintain at a low to medium heat. So if you want to alter the time between high and low, this is the better option. You can manually kick this up to high from low at the end. Let's say that you want to add a cream element to it, or you want it to sort of boil at the end. You can do that with this too, but you have to manually do it. This one, you can tell it to do it ahead of time and it will just do it. It's awesome. So that's a great feature. Also, when this is done with its cycle, let's say that I want it to be on high for 4 hours. Once that 4 hours is up, it goes immediately to warm and stays warm. This one, you would have to manually turn it. I know that sounds like, okay, why is that a big deal? If you're gone from the house, that's when it matters. The whole idea of a crock pot is to set it and leave it while you go about your day doing other more interesting things. You can't necessarily leave this, like truly leave it at the end. This one I could. Let's say I get caught in traffic on the way home from somewhere and I know this is supposed to be done and I really don't want it to be on high or low. It will automatically go to warm. Awesome. And it keeps it nicely warm. It's not still cooking it, it just really does keep it warm. Okay. Awkward though to store. You can see the size of this, bigger than my head.
There's nothing bigger, is there?
So you have to be able to get it into a cabinet sideways, somehow get it in there. I often will flip it and put the lids down so that it's easier to store this way, and then I can put something else on top of it. Now, another high point of this one is that it has a retractable cord. Woo! Did you see that go? Now it's easy to store. Doesn't have the cord sticking out, getting caught on something, making you maybe say a few naughty words. No, no.
My foot! What? She just put a rock in a bath!
It retracts into the pot and in it goes. Now, I have one little bonus crock pot. This is called a little dipper, I think. Oh, it is. It's actually called a little dipper. And it's for what you would imagine. No setting on this. It is literally its own thing. It doesn't come apart. You take a dip, you put it in there, you put on this little plastic top, and you plug it in, and it keeps your dips warm, melty. So if you have a cheese dip or even a chocolate dip, it's at a low heat, so it won't scorch or scald anything. And you could keep it for dipping purposes and keep it going. You don't have to use the microwave to keep warming it up and trying to keep it edible. Nope, does it on its own.
On my own.
The only thing I don't really care about for this little dipper is this plastic lid. It is very lightweight plastic. I wish it were more sturdy. It hasn't broken or anything. I just feel like it's not quite as heavy as it could be or needs to be, but I've never heard anybody complain about that. So, does not have a retractable cord. You must fight it to get it into storage. I usually wrap it up like this, and well, nicer than this, and put a rubber band around it and tuck it in. You can put it in here and it will sort of stay tucked in. So these are my personal crock pots. I am sure that there are ones out there that do even more special things. I can't imagine what that would be. Like, will they chop your vegetables? No. Will they go shopping for you? No. Will they do your hair? No. But they do cook your food while you're away, or even while you're doing other fun things. So for that reason, I recommend any crock pot, but these are mine, and I've had great success with them, and I would recommend these. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to get out your crock pot, take a look at the options. If you have a little booklet that goes with it with recipes, even better, and find something pretty simple you could make in your crock pot this week, because a crock pot meal is always a great meal. Usually fairly simple ingredients go into a crock pot meal. Easy cleanup, does the cooking for you. Just put it away at the end, and the only dishes you have to clean up are your plates and silverware, because I know you're using actual silverware. Now, aren't you? I go to the crock pot more than any other utility. Utility? What is a utility? If I'm cooking and I need to be away from the house, or if I need to use multiple cooking, what is wrong with me? This is a Monday. This stores pretty easily, uniform in shape, so I put it in. It has a retractable, of course, I'm trying to retract this, it's not retracting. Okay. $10 says it'll do it again. Now, a great high point of this for storage is it has a retractable cord. It will not retract. Okay. Come on over. Now go make someone feel special today.